Hi, friends. We at GLC would like to take a quick moment to thank you for watching our programs on this platform, and we'd like to ask you for a little favor. Would you please go beneath this video and click the subscribe button? Did you know that by simply subscribing to the GLC YouTube channel, you can help us financially support the programs on this platform? You'll need to be signed into YouTube beforehand. But if not, simply click the subscribe button and YouTube will automatically walk you through the steps to sign in or to create an account. By taking these simple steps, you will not only ensure that you continue to receive our unique programming and gain instant access to the hundreds of videos we post, but more importantly, you'll also be telling YouTube that GLC's content is worth watching and promoting. Likewise, if you enjoyed a specific program, please click the thumbs up button below, which also helps inform YouTube that this is a program worth recommending. Finally, once you have logged in and subscribed, please click the notification bell below in order to receive announcements when we post new content. As usual, feel free to post your questions and comments in the comments section below. We always love hearing from our friends and viewers. Again, thank you for watching and supporting God's Learning Channel. We couldn't spread the message of the gospel without you. Be blessed, and we hope you enjoy the show. He's the founder of the Bible Block Party, world-renowned author, speaker, dear friend who loves to give me a hard time, and I love to tease him back. Avi Lipkin, how you doing, my friend?
Comandante.
Yeah.
Either it's going to be in German or it's going to be in Spanish, so you choose.
Hey, there you go. You know, before we film, it's always, you will not like it.
You know, I have to tell you, yesterday I was going through my diaries to prepare for the trip, and all those, do you know how long we've been doing shows together, you and me?
3 years?
3 years. I thought it was 2 years. 3 years.
Yeah. Hey, it feels, it's such a joy to you and to me that it feels like, feels like 2. But it's been 3 years, and people have been watching this on multiple platforms as well as GLC. And Avi, what can we say? You're a favorite.
Well, I don't know. You know, my son Aaron checked my Tuesdays meetings, my Tuesday Zooms, and it went up from 1,500 views every week to about 1,800. So it's growing.
Hey, well, people are hearing about you, and the word continues to get out. Of course, hey, you've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah, 35 years.
And it looks like you're finally going to be in the States. Oh my gosh. Can't wait.
Here's some more background information.
Right.
The ticket, well, I told you, the ticket is $4,000.
Wow.
I expect to do a lot better than that. But my point is that I'm very afraid that I will not travel. Why? Because if a war breaks out with Iran tomorrow, which could happen, and the runway is pockmarked with rocket hits from Iran, no planes can take off or land. And so my wife will say, well, you just continue doing the dishes.
Yeah. Well, hey, you've settled into some new arrangements and chores, being home during the war. So, it'd be kind of hard to let you go. Well, I trust her.
I told her to come with me to the States. All my Christian lady friends said to me, you bring your wife, you do your work, we take her to the mall.
There you go. Well, that's how it always is with Christy. People love me, but they really love my wife. And hey, who can blame them, right? I'm pretty crazy about her too. But all that to say is, I'm glad that the Lipkin family is doing well. And Aaron, they're not going to want to let him go. Apparently, with the accolades of recent and of late. But a good man's a good man, and Lipkin are good men. So,
man, thank you.
You better believe it.
My wife keeps me in line.
Well, that's right, man. You know what? Behind every good man's an amazing woman, and we know that that's true. But with all that said,
behind every successful man stands a little woman reminding him just how unsuccessful he is.
Now that's funny. Well, tell us what's going on. What's happening right now? Boots on the ground, word on the street. What's shaking?
Well, you know what? While I was chatting with you on the messages and you sent me the link, I was downstairs, grabbing something to eat real fast, and the TV is on, and it turns out that the Houthis in Yemen are increasing their rate of fire of missiles at Israel. So things are heating up with Yemen. And President Trump, I love President Trump. I voted for him 3 times. But President Trump said, any missile from Yemen, we will respond against Iran, as if Iran fired the missile. And I don't know. I see a few instances here of President Trump going from 200 miles an hour to zero. All of a sudden, everything is stopping. 5 meetings. Now they're talking about 6 meetings with the Iranians. And, I keep thinking that I'm getting jerked around here because I don't know. Am I going to travel? Am I not going to travel?
Right.
And so finally, my wife said, "You're going crazy. You have to go. You have to go to the States. You got to do your lectures and stuff." So, but the point is, if I leave or if I plan to leave and all of a sudden rockets and missiles are hitting the runway in Tel Aviv and the airport does not allow any planes to take off or any planes to take off or land. So I may be indeed staying here and doing dishes, or actually writing my 9th book about Turkey and the Armageddon. Arnold even said to me, "Don't travel, just stay, write the book. We'll sell it on eBay and not eBay, on ebooks." And there are a lot of pastors who are going to want your book will be in very high demand, which is fine. But as you know, I've got things to do in the States and physical things, moving books around, storage, selling the van. I've got so much that I've got to do in a very short time. And now my son, I love him, my younger son, I'm going to take a break from this work at the bank and be with you for 10 days in Texas to help you move the books. I said, "You're not going to move anything. You're 50 years old. Hey, I'm 76. We're getting old." And so, but the very sweet Christian people in Hempstead are going to help me to move the books from the 2 storage facilities. They have a home in Bentonville, so hopefully we'll get the books stored there, and it'll save me $500 a month from my Social Security.
Good.
But
Well,
we are still just sitting on tax here until we figure out what's happening with Iran, and. Maybe the good thing, maybe the bad thing is nobody can figure out President Trump. What is he planning to do? Or will it be that we will see the game good cop and bad cop, where Israel will be the bad cop and President Trump will be the good cop, make a deal with Iran, and then we go and blast the hell out of the Iranians. Because what's going on with Gaza, what's going on with Yemen, what's going on with all these crazy terrorists all over the Middle East, it's all financed by Iran. Not just their nuclear program. These people are completely suicidal, crazy. It's like when you watch the Dirty Harry movies,
right?
It's feeling lucky, make my day. So we're at the point now where we're basically saying to Iran, feeling lucky, make my day.
Well, very interesting, very, very interesting. We know that Iran is the world sponsor of terror. Right. And we know that under the first administration of Trump, they became broke. They weren't able to be the world sponsor of terror. Of course, their friends, their friends in the left, their cronies in the left, enriched them yet again. And here we are, dealing with it again. But I'm just really curious. I'm also curious about what Trump is thinking, because Iranians can't keep an agreement any better than their proxies, around the world. So I'm not really sure what's the thought pattern here. I also voted for Trump as well, and I'm glad that I did. But it's confusing. It's confusing. Why? I don't know. It seems like a waste of time. because Iran is a theocracy and bent on destroying the world, so that their Mahdi will appear. So I don't understand
You
the
know
think.
what? In Iran, there's a very, very big neighborhood in the south of Tehran, of the capital. Actually, it's a very poor neighborhood. They are going 14 hours a day without electricity. No electricity. And the people in Iran are fed up with this theocracy.
Yeah.
The people of Iran want to overthrow this. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I'm sure that both America and Israel have agents in Iran working. And when the command is given, it's the end of the Iranian regime. But like I said before, I personally think that President Trump is going to play good cop and Netanyahu will play bad cop, but the job will be done.
Well, again, Trump is a very smart man, and
Right,
he's had a lot of time to think about this. He's been talking the same way since the early '80s, and I'm
right,
sure before then as well. So he has measures and countermeasures, I'm sure, in place. I'm sure he's done the risk analysis, being a businessman, where you take the worst thing that can happen and the top three options that you have and choose the one that's best for you. So I can't imagine him expecting Iran to follow any agreement. Their very belief system, allows for not honoring treaties and coming back when the enemy is weaker. So I'm a little baffled, but maybe he knows exactly that they're not going to keep their word, and not keeping the word will give the go ahead. I don't know.
what's better than good cop, bad cop?
What?
No, I'm a rhetorical
Oh,
question.
okay. I thought, hey, a hitman, a regulator. I think regulators, deputized regulators in America can fix our problems in a week. Over
Right,
here, Wyatt Earp knew how to handle crooked judges and crooked officials and terror. The best form of counterterrorism, in my opinion, is to terrorize the terrorist. We need to terrorize the terrorist. And a lot of things are coming to light. People are discovering over here that the DNC is one of the largest terrorist organizations in the world. So,
right.
and of course we got the rhinos too. All they have to do is, oh, I'm changing parties, like the mayor of New York. Oh, I'm changing part. Man, pardon me, but you could take a piece of feces and put it in a different outfit, and it's still a piece of feces.
Right.
Okay, leftism, Marxism, and child sex trafficking. The left champions everything evil all over the world. So changing your parties ain't going to work. Although some people are still stupid enough to vote for people who just simply change their party, but have always voted the same. That's why it's important to support people like Avi Lipkin, biblicalalliance.com, and the Bible Block Party. And again, folks, also go to We the People, townsquare.com, We the People, townsquare.com. They love Avi Lipkin. They love Israel. Definitely love America. And so it's a very interesting time, but I would say choose your side. You've already chosen your side, how you voted. Some people are coming to the light now. A lot of Dems have jumped ship, but they can't bring themselves to call themselves conservative. But when you have people like Bill Maher, condemning his own party, I think maybe just calling them common sense voters. But we need common sense voters to pray for the peace of Israel, to support biblicalalliance.com, to go to wethepeopletownsquare.com and sign up for free. But we also need common sense voters to run for something. Don't support leaders that are against our only ally in the Middle East, and that's Israel. So it's interesting times, revealing times, but it sure is easier to see who the good and bad players are these days. What are the words from Netanyahu as of late?
Well, Netanyahu is a very unusual guy because he single-handedly is dealing with a very, very corrupt Supreme Court, Attorney General, former generals in the army who are bribed by Qatar and all these Islamic countries, people who have signed military supply deals and have earned commissions in the millions of dollars. And so these people attack Netanyahu all the time because they are bribed by Qatar and the Emirates and other Saudi and other countries. We are now facing a situation with the Attorney General and the Supreme Court. We're always on the verge of a civil war in Israel. And of course, Netanyahu does everything he can so that there will not be a civil war. But there are people who are thinking every day that goes by, the left gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And therefore, these deep state left-wing people, they want to have a civil war now while they still think they can win. But they can't win. They're going to lose because 70 to 80% of the population is against them. So I'm just saying Netanyahu is keeping his cards very close to his chest. I always vote Netanyahu. Oh, I don't vote Netanyahu anymore because I vote for the Bible Bloc Party. But let me just say, one day there will be millions and millions of new immigrants coming from the United States voting for my party. And of course, we will stand with Netanyahu if he wants us to.
So be it. So be it. The anti-Semitism is astounding, not surprising. I used to be confused of why would Jews vote Democrat with all the anti-Semitism? Well, it's because those are not the same Jews you think they are. They're from a communist, socialist type of ideology. A lot of them.
Do I have a few minutes to develop an idea? I know we're running out of time.
No, you're doing just fine. Go. You have time. Go ahead.
What I wanted to say is, being a student of Sovietology, meaning studying Russian history, Communist Party, Socialist Party, you have to remember that all of these European countries were anti-Semitic and they're killing the Jews. And so the Soviets and the Bolsheviks and the communists and the socialists said, well, you know what? The solution is very simple. You abolish God. Because if you abolish God and if you abolish Jesus Christ, and if you abolish everything that is holy to nationalists all over Europe who are Christians, then there will be no more anti-Semitism, which is fallacious, not true. But the Jews in Russia joined the Communist Party because the Communist Party was the only political entity that did not kill the Jews. Then they came to America, and Jews came to America. They didn't know what a church was. They thought that the American white Anglo-Saxon Protestant churches, which love Israel, love the Jews, love Israel, were the same type of churches like they knew in Europe, which are anti-Semitic and wanted just to kill the Jews. So I'm not talking about Protestant primarily. I'm talking primarily about Catholic and Eastern Orthodox. One of the things that frustrates me so much is that I have had such wonderful, wonderful reception in Christian churches, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant post-Reformation type Christians who read the Bible, love God. But 99% of the Jews in America, including Orthodox Jews, will not touch the New Testament, will not go into a church. If you don't read the New Testament and you don't go into a church and you don't see and feel the love that the Christians have for us Jews and Israelis, then you just don't get it. So you keep voting Democrat, you keep voting communist, you keep voting anti-American, and then when the Civil War breaks out and the Patriots come to kill the Jews, that's what's breaking my heart, because I'm with the Patriots. And I understand the anger of American right-wing patriots and Republicans and Tea Party and militias against the Jews who just like, they're just completely blind and constantly vote Democrat. And that's like 2/3. So this is going to lead inevitably to a Holocaust in America. The Jews are going to be fried. I mean, the Jews are going to be destroyed. And if Christians marry Jews, they're going to be destroyed. So what's the choice? The only choice is to flee, to leave Israel, leave America, come to Israel. And I have to tell you, here in Israel, there are religious fanatics who are saying, not only do we not want Christian spouses and children to come with their Jewish parents, we don't want Reform Jews, we don't want conservative Jews who are all contaminated by the
Wow.
Reformation. The Bible Bloc Party is going to have a big battle because we are going to have to receive 10 million immigrants, about 6 million Jews and 4 million Christians. My party will be the biggest party in the Knesset. And if my wife doesn't kill me, I'll be the prime minister.
Well, you might be happy to know that I really don't believe that the average Trump supporter hates Jews or Israel. I personally don't know any patriots that are opposing Israel. As a matter of fact, yeah.
I have to repeat the story. I'm sure I've said it many times.
Oh, you told the story before about the white supremacists, but that's not the same as the MAGA.
After the death of George Floyd, the militias grew from 3 million to 30 million.
Right.
And they were happy about defund the police because if you defund the police, then the militias will have to fill the vacuum left by the police. They're not functioning.
Well, citizen justice is a little more severe. You definitely wouldn't have repeat offenders under citizen justice.
So you've got 6 million Jews in America married to 4 million Christians, which is great. But then on the other hand, you've got 3 million neo-Nazis, forgive me for saying it, among the 30 million militia, there are 3 million terrorists.
Right.
Ultra right wing. And I work with them. They love me because I have very similar thoughts to the way they think. We're patriots, all of us. And then you've got 30 million Muslims in America, of which 3 million are terrorists. That's another 3 million. So you got 6 million terrorists. You got Black Lives Matter. That's 4 million more terrorists from Louis Farrakhan. You've got Antifa. You're going to have such total chaos in America. If one bullet kills Trump, God forbid, there's going to be civil war. And I don't know. I mean, God is having to think about he doesn't have to think. He knows what his plan is. But the plan is going to be that the Jews go home. And if the Jews marry Christians, the Christians go home too with the Jews to Israel.
What a mess. What a mess.
You know what? Many times before the coming or the return of the Messiah, you're going to have a mess.
You know, when I was a boy, I would say there's no way that America would ever turn against Israel, you know? And now, older and seeing what I'm seeing, it's very easy that the wrong people in place. But, you know, isn't that Bible prophecy that the nations will gather again against Israel and God will decimate his enemies? So while we can't avoid it, we can delay it, I believe.
Delay it, or maybe ameliorate it by bringing people to love God. You cannot love God and love Jesus Christ without loving the Bible and loving the promises of God to the Jewish people.
Right,
and the Christians are joined at the hip with the Jewish people because, I mean, even if there's some crazy leftists in America who are Jewish, you've got to love them too because they're eventually going to be part of the big family when Messiah comes or returns.
Well, and I agree. I agree. That's why it's important, folks. Be informed. You know, the seeker-sensitive movement nearly destroyed the church in America by officially putting the nail in the coffin, you know, to turn parishioners into consumers. Thank the Lord that there's a remnant left, and it's coming. Some things are coming back, but even more dangerous is the replacement theology. Oh, Israel doesn't matter. We're Israel now. Hey, man, you guys need to wake up and put that replacement theology where it belongs, in the trash, and burn it, because you better stand with Israel. So it's very interesting times. You know, I'm not surprised by anything, and yet, you know, we trust things are right on time, but we can offset and we can delay. You know, there's people that will say, oh, well, you know, it's prophesied, so just let it happen. Well, I'm glad we didn't take that stance with the Nazis. I mean, it still took a Pearl Harbor, for us to jump in, but you know, what would have happened if our founding fathers, oh, it's going to happen anyway. One world order, you know what I mean? So it's an interesting time, watching men become cowards. But it's also an encouraging time watching cowards become men. People are waking up. The Bible is real. The Bible is real. And the Bible is real. Hey, it's on. You cannot deny the authenticity of the faith. And so take your place, folks. But I think that you might be happy to know that of all the circles I'm in that are patriot, not one, I haven't encountered one person that is oppositional or hating towards the Jews. So maybe that hopefully is changing. But we always have bad apples, just like you had the Pelosi CIA staged January 6th distraction from a stolen election with Antifa and BLM operatives, along with those three-letter agency operatives, instigating and coaching. And I mean, we even saw Craigslist ads, bring your MAGA hats and pipes for Antifa. I'm confused why uh, Trump didn't say don't go to the Capitol today because there's bad players there. He should have taken a cue from Pelosi when she turned down National Guardsmen, and so cleverly, so she thought, coordinated the unarmed insurrection. No one remembers the early '90s bombing by the Democrats of the Capitol. No one wants to talk about that. But let me tell you something: true patriots have a insurrection. It's not going to be unarmed. But here we are. But I just think you might need to know that, Avi, that the patriot circles I'm in, not one person is speaking against Israel. I think that's a far right faction, like the man that you talked with. But nonetheless, act, pray, support ministries that support the truth. And you can do that with biblicalalliance.com, biblicalalliance.com. You can also go to your Chase Bank, Dennis Avi Lipkin, or you can make contact with Avi. I put his email address on the screen for rebroadcast, and I know we're live today, but I will actually put that on the screen for those who are watching live right now as well. Avi, what's the best way to pray for the Lipkin family?
Well, I always say the same thing in every church and every message, that God's will be done on earth as in heaven. And if because I don't want to do anything that's not what God wants. And I think the Christians I speak to believe exactly the same way. If God wants this Judeo-Christian Bible Block Party to succeed, it will.
Well, it's still kicking.
Well, we are getting ready for new elections within a year.
Wow. Wow. And then again, Netanyahu plays his cards close. He still has shown a supernatural resilience to lead as long as he has. And
I'm always saying, pray for Trump, pray for Bibi.
Pray for Trump and pray for Bibi. Pray for Avi as well.
Yes.
And we want to see you.
Probably, I would say looking forward towards around the 20th of June.
All right, my man.
I see you sooner, because if I'm going to Bentonville, I'll see you sooner. But GLC is another story.
Okay. All right. Well, we need some churches that are in West Texas to bring you as well.
Right.
And get you on set at GLC and talk about your new book.
Books.
Yeah. New books. You've got a book on the Bible Block Party. You've got a book on Turkey and Armageddon. Yeah. What else?
Well, in addition to the other 7 books.
And you can again see some of those on biblicalalliance.com. Biblicalalliance.com. Avi's not only an informed man and a scholar, he's an incredible teacher. And we're always happy, Avi, to see you. We'll be praying for you and Israel because as goes Israel,
So goes the world.
so goes the world. Love you, my man.
Love you too.